Welcome back to the channel, guys. Let's get straight into today's story. Donald Trump has just filed a $5 billion lawsuit against the BBC, accusing the broadcaster of serious wrongdoing over the editing of a Panorama documentary. And this isn't just another Trump versus the media headline. This case goes right to the heart of trust in mainstream media bias and how powerful broadcasters operate when they think nobody will challenge them. According to reports, Trump's legal team claims the BBC edited footage in a way that misrepresented him and caused significant reputational damage. The allegation is that key context was removed, clips were rearranged, and the final programme presented a version of events that simply wasn't accurate. The BBC, of course, says it stands by its journalism, but the size of the lawsuit suggests Trump isn't playing games. Now, let's be honest, the BBC has long been seen by many on the right as politically biased. Whether it's Brexit, immigration, Trump himself, or conservative movement more broadly, critics argue the broadcaster often frames stories through a very specific lens. And because it's funded by the licence fee, the public is forced to pay for it whether they trust it or not. This case matters because it challenges something the media rarely has to deal with: consequences. For years, large broadcasters have operated under the assumption that they're untouchable. If they misrepresent someone, they issue a clarification, maybe an apology buried at the bottom of a web page, and then move on. But a multi-million-dollar lawsuit changes that dynamic completely. Trump has always had a combative relationship with the media, and many people dismiss his complaints as noise. But it is worth remembering that he successfully sued or forced retractions from media outlets before. This isn't just about hurt feelings, it's about whether a publicly funded broadcaster crossed a legal line. The BBC insists its Panorama programme was fair and accurate, but if that was the case, why does this feel so uncomfortable for them? Because even if the BBC ultimately wins, the process itself will drag their editorial decisions into the open. Lawyers will examine raw footage, emails, editorial choices and internal discussions. That level of scrutiny is something the BBC rarely faces. And this isn't happening in a vacuum. Public trust in mainstream media is already low. Many people feel that they're talked down to, selectively informed or steered towards certain conclusions. When a broadcaster like the BBC is accused of manipulating content, it reinforces the belief that the public isn't getting the full story. There's also a wider issue here in the UK. Why should British licensed taxpayers be exposed to potential legal and financial risks because of editorial choices they had no say in? If this case escalates, even defending it will cost millions, money that ultimately comes from the public, us. Some supporters of the BBC argue that this is an attack on journalism itself. But that argument only works if journalism is beyond criticism or accountability. It isn't. Good journalism should welcome transparency. If the BBC did nothing wrong, the evidence should support that. If mistakes were made, they should be owned. Trump's lawsuit also sends a message to other media organisations. Powerful figures are no longer willing to accept distorted coverage without a fight. Whenever you like Trump or not, that's a development worth paying attention to. For me, this isn't about defending Trump personally. It's about asking whether media institutions that claim moral authority are actually living up to their own standards. If the BBC expects public trust, it has to earn it, not demand it. As this case unfolds, one thing is certain: the days of unquestioned media dominance are fading. People want honesty, balancing and accountability. And if the BBC can't provide that, someone eventually will force the issue. Thanks for watching, guys. If you want more honest political commentary and don't want to miss what's really happening behind the headlines, hit subscribe now and drop your thoughts in the comment. I want to hear what you think.